What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to review The Last of Us Episode 9, the season finale, until we get to a much more, controversial season and game in The Last of Us Part 2. But this episode was, I would honestly say, pretty straightforward. I don't envision I have too much to talk about here. Really, it was a lot of the game, condensed down, a lot of the actual gameplay, say, firefight against the Fireflies with all the armor and protection. A lot of that was not necessarily cut out, but it was condensed and it was made a little bit more emotional, a little bit more impactful, just in the way the music was, in the way that really actually there wasn't a lot of noise involved. I really liked that, and we'll get to that as this video goes on. I thought it was a good episode. I mean, it ends the game exactly how you'd probably want it to. Couple things to talk about. Number one being Ashley Johnson, right? That was the added thing that they did for this episode, and I thought she did phenomenal. Maybe the biggest criticism is just her voice is obviously Ellie, so when you hear her and then you hear Bella Ramsey, she did such a good job throughout this entire season of being Ellie. She really did about as good as I think you'd want somebody to do in a live action show. But then you actually hear the voice of Ellie, and it's hard to kind of wrap your head around it. But I think Ashley Johnson did great. And to give us a little bit more context, right? Like in the game, and I mean, obviously even they say it in the episode in the present time, it's something with Ellie's blood, right? Kind of being born with it almost. But then you get to see it happen more, even where she lies, right? She says like she cut the cord before she was bit, but that was a lie. She was bit first. So that hence why I guess Ellie has this special ability is, her mom was bit before she gave birth or before they cut the cord to the baby. So I thought that was awesome. I thought Ashley Johnson did a great job. I think it helped Marlene, not just in the moment of being a sympathetic character and showing some emotion, right? But then also the ending, already it was like, man, Joel, you're going kind of crazy. But then obviously seeing all that stuff play out, it's like, yeah, she really does when she says like, only I understand along with Joel, the impact of all this. She's telling the truth, right? Like, although there was a lot of friction between Ellie and her as the years went on, Ellie kind of just being given off basically to boarding school, right? Marlene did watch out for her. And you could argue very heavily, without Marlene, Ellie wouldn't have survived, right? She was 1 day old, giving it to Marlene. So Marlene was the protector for a while. So with that being said, I think that helps Marlene in the present time when she was talking to Joel. So I do think that scene actually kind of enhanced the rest of the episode. The doctor thing was a little different. I'm not going to say it was better in the show than it was the game, but it had the same kind of beats, and obviously kind of zooming in on the doctor dead on the ground. Well, you know why they're doing that, right, for the second season. So, again, a lot of beats were matched, a lot of the same lines. I liked it. I mean, really, this episode was maybe more in line with the game, and I maybe have said this before in other episode reviews, but this episode really did feel like the game. Of course, there was the draft scene, which I thought was phenomenal, and, it CG, but I think, honestly, they did a really good job, right? It's never going to be exactly the game, but the music, the framing, right, like how they did the shots, it was about as good as you'd want it. I think it captured the same kind of emotion. Loved to see it. Was a little worried that maybe they would skip over something like that because of the kind of CG components, but I thought they did excellent, and honestly, there's not too much more to say other than that. I thought this was a pretty darn good one-to-one thing. I was hoping that they'd leave the ending alone when they're having their talk, and it ends very abruptly. And it's a love-hate thing, but it's generally a very much love thing with the game where it's like, you're ending it right there. Like, there's so much more you could do, but it's so powerful because you end it when you ended it. I was hoping the show wasn't going to mess with anything and end it exactly the same way. But like I said, I think one of this episode's biggest strengths, a lot of it, one-to-one with the game. So I'm glad they left that ending alone. So overall, honestly, a pretty impressive episode. Maybe not like the best episode of the entire thing, but it's because it was so in line with the game. There's not too much to even say about it. I enjoyed this a lot. This season was so much better than I thought it ever could be. I was bagging on this when it was first announced, and I think to go into these things with skepticism is probably the right move. Normally, these adaptations aren't so great or don't work, so I'm okay with how I, did it. Now we go to season 2, and boy, will we talk about it when we get there and do reviews and such. But I'm going to enjoy this high because the first game is, in my opinion, a masterpiece, is one of the best games of all time. They did a great job with the show. The second game is so much more mixed, in my opinion, to me. The show, I think, will be the exact same way. So this is the high, I would argue, and it's not going to get any higher than this, but I'm going to enjoy the ride, or I did enjoy the ride as we did it. So thank you all for watching all these Season 1 episode reviews, and I hope to see you all when we do Season 2, whenever that may be. Thank you all, and see you all on the next one.